Alright, guys. So, Robin by David. I can never pronounce this guy. Itzoff. Itzoff. Um, I had the. I did end up listening through this book during a trip from Arizona to back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Overall, it was a solid listen. I had a couple credits on Audible. This is one of the books I want to listen to and, well, obviously obtain the information. I was a huge fan of Robin Williams, and his comedy was something that I enjoyed, something that was really witty, something that was jumping around, and that carried on from his hardship of his life. During of the novel, it talks about different segments. Obviously, in the beginning, talks about his childhood, and I'm not gonna get too much into depth, for this stuff, just cause I want yourselves to read the book or at least get an Audible. Pretty interesting, and also the narrator did well on also kind of following how Robin talks and kind of puts it out like he's actually saying this story. So we'll get right into it and not to take too much time. But first, I wanted to talk about, at times, like I kind of said, Robin, he could turn off this side of humor, and he couldn't. When he took his role from a comedian that brought him really success in LA, in California, and to different uprisings, he tried to hop into acting. Some roles were looking for different of what Robin Williams was his nature, and a lot of critics of that were watching these films of Robin Williams noted the Genie. I'm gonna throw a great example that fits his characteristic. With the novel talking about, not the novel, but this book talking about Robin Williams, when he accepted this Genie role, he was in awe because he basically himself was an animated character, and he loved it. And I honestly think that Robin Williams should have stuck and stayed with that kind of aspect. And they had some dilemma with Disney at one point, Robin Williams. But with that, he couldn't turn his this humor off during some roles. One of my favorite movie that he played, Good Will Hunting, he did a great perspective as a really straightforward, kind of humble therapist. And at times when he would throw his own little humor in the movie, and if you guys didn't catch it, that wasn't written. That was Robin Williams' creativity. And this man would do improv, and he would keep it going, and he would jump around from actor to actor to keep having this improv going, and he was amazing at it, jumping from different accents. I highly recommend you guys listening to his comedy performances on Pandora on YouTube. Two that I picked up from this book was handling cravings. Robin, up in his utmost, couldn't. Honestly, I don't think he could really control himself. At times he did, but it led to different turn of events for himself. Some good, some bad. Really into drugs. That's getting into drugs as being an actor or a comedian, and when you start getting money, it's a big reality. You're surrounded by it, so why not, right? He was really into alcohol, cocaine, and the comment topic number one, he really couldn't control it. He didn't really rely on it. He went to meetings to get help, therapists, lost relationship with his wife. And one thing I didn't know is he had 3 wives. This man, Robin, he was a he was a playboy, and he loved women. He talked to them during the beginning of the book. He's talking about how Robin would jump from place to place, having women around, and it was something that he enjoyed. He was a seducer, and he was well at it. But at times when he did find a woman, this relationship would be strong. He had one that was a family woman, a woman that was with the kids. The second woman was I think he had a child with, but also she managed a lot of his career, and that was I honestly liked her the most because she was not in for the money, but also assisting him during needs. She would know what Robin will get ticked off at. She would get things prepared from when he's out on travel, meeting people. And his third wife was a younger woman, and it helped him. I would say to a certain degree of controlling himself, but he really couldn't handle himself, and that's all how people are wired in the brain when it comes to an addiction. One of I think his strongest craving was work. This man was working plus hours on going from role to role, show to show. And even though when he was depressed from getting bad critique on his roles, his best way to get out of this would be humor and stand-up. And honestly, it was for the best. I think you should stay to one category field. I mean, yes, it's nice to be both, getting money for both, but come on. Your expertise is stand-up. Stick with it. I know he wanted to be top dog for acting, but that was becoming a huge downfall for his life. Number 3 is that woman relationships. I kind of touched on with number 2 about his craving. His wives all loved him. He loved them all too. Of course, because some were the mother of his child. But this relationship with them weren't as healthy as they could have been. He didn't take that many days off. I mean, when it was during vacation. Obviously, I did not know Robin Williams. Obviously, I wasn't his friend. I never met the man. But from what I could tell, him being all over the world, country, doing shows, doing performance, practicing, takes a toll on relationships. And especially for your wife. I mean, you have 3 wives. What is that telling you? I mean, something's going wrong. Sometimes it might not be the woman, but it might be the man, right? So, actually, a lot of the middle to the end of the book, was talking about his relationship with his wives. And, I mean, his children did love him. So, I mean, he had a really eye-opener when he had his open heart surgery. He was stating, like, oh my God, you really don't cherish relationships and how they mean day by day until you had almost death and you're just being thankful every day. But still, even after that kind of uprising of a moment like that, he still, at the end, took his life. Number 4, wanting to be the best, but not controlling one's self-image. I'm a big believer of this ego, and I kind of highlighted in different topics, but his always goals was getting the Golden Globe, Oscar, and he would stop at no way to get it. Keep grinding. He's like, if I don't do well in this film, I'm gonna do another one. And after a while, he was top head honcho. But in that kind of field, how long does someone really last until someone comes up and beats you to it? I think he was talking about one of the actors was Jim Carrey. Once he started having an uprise, he took a lot of that spotlight off from Robin. And from an interview from his wife, second wife, it took a big toll on Robin. Like, he loved the guy, but he kind of fucking hated him. And I think Robin, if he could have let this go and not, I mean, yes, being the best means you're always pushing yourself to your higher goals and stuff like that, but still, it's not healthy. Especially when you get older, your wisdom needs to carry on to yourself. That's not what's more important, your life or be and your family and all the stuff that's important, or being number one. So the self image was always preceding himself. It's always following him, and I believe that with that and his addictions, even though he was like somewhat getting help, like I'm going for number 5, his aspect of getting more help, taking a huge break from everything. I mean, this man had money, but at the end of the book, it was kind of stating that his money funds were going low because he would do a job. He'd always blame if he did bad in a film. He'd like read the script. I'm just here for the money. Was he really truly doing it for the money, or was he doing it to try to spark up his career again? Who knows? But instead of taking these roles to try to get an easy buck, getting help, taking a break from all this stuff, spending time with his family, his loved ones, doing the things that he loved, his hobbies. I remember at one part of the book, excuse me, I'm drinking a little late night protein shake. Um, During one of the segments, he was saying like his hobbies would be obviously stand up, acting a little. I mean, so you consider that a hobby, performing, yeah. But like bike riding was a huge one from him. And that was pretty much it for hobbies. I know that I'm missing a couple, but I mean, these hobbies, you start developing these hobbies when you're young, and they carry on to make your life peaceful. For leisure, it is healthy for one's physical and mental aspects. And when Robin's whole career life was considered of grinding hard, going working on show, improv, um, film acting. I don't know if you can consider your work and leisure activities as one. I mean, yes, you can, but like to an extent, they keep putting pressure on you. They're not really your leisure activities. So, I mean, unfortunate with all this kind of roles that he did to himself, plays of taking one step to another, he ended up obviously rest in peace in his soul for his soul. He took his life. I believe it was in his home with a belt. He did it, and I think this is with his second wife. No, his last wife, obviously. They had 2 rooms. They slept in 2 different rooms, and she noticed that he was in his room for like almost not a day, but like a good amount of time. And they broke the door, and he took his own life with his own belt. And I mean, obviously, there's other ways to take. I'm not going to go in too much into suicide, but he obviously was hurting because he took a hard route of going with hanging versus a more frequent way nowadays is ODing on drugs. And I think that, I mean, both play a big picture of how you end your life, but at the end, it's still suicide. And there's something lurking bad in himself, and really wish that it could have been released, or could have got some assistance, or talked about it. Even that, for that most part, maybe he would have been be with us. But overall, Robin was a great book. And if you guys want to know more about him, about his performance through that he's done, all the grind of acting school, and his family, his people someone he met, relationships. It's a good book to pick up. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's more topics, but these are the top 5 that I wanted to kind of discuss about his life. Thank you for tuning in, and stay bright. And if you guys do need help wrapping around for number 5, send a message. Take it out. Say it to your best friend. Because you're doing more harm taking your life for everyone else around them. When you're in hurt, think about others. Because that's when by you doing you is impacting them. And feel free to message me. I've talked to a lot of people into that circumstance. I had a couple siblings, and when you discuss it, when you talk about your cues and like what ignites this feeling, it's better to deal with this feeling with others than by yourself. And that's what I'm going to leave this video with. Check out Robin. I got a couple more books going to be discussing later in the week. Hopefully I create the format and post it on YouTube. Check it out on YouTube, guys. As always, good night and stay blessed.